gets ahead, we win. Jax doesn't get ahead, struggle to see the options. You also have to think, you know, we're talking about Jax side lane pressure. How fast is a Karma Udyr going to rotate towards that Jax? You have to be on point on these rotations later on. But if anyone's going to know these situations, it is going to be Nyla. So a lot on him this game.
Well, we'll have to see if the man in the top lane can make it happen for Verdant as we are on to the Rift for the first game of day number 2. Nativz searching for their first win of the split, and they have offered us something spicy in terms of the composition. Verdant, though, a bit more tried and true, a bit more stuff that we've seen before, but that doesn't make it any less effective.
That is an Ignite on the Ezreal, by the way. They are going to take the fight to them as fast as humanly possible. And you know what? They can win those kinds of all-ins, just not if you're against the level 2, level 3 advantage. The Ignite also, by the way, does stack a bit of Conqueror there. So he's looking to do something, and he's looking to do something early in 2v2 setup. I guess both sides are expecting this to be bot to top on either side, and if it is that kind of a match, Sejuani does have the priority. What she can't do is just get stuck in a situation where she's matching Udyr over and over again. That's what she doesn't want to do. So it's actually quite good for her that Udyr's going top to bot. If Udyr just gets to match and slow the game down, well, that's going to favor the Udyr overall. So you don't want to be in that kind of a position.
I suppose this is kind of just the nature of Udyr clears as well. Like, getting the blue buff is such an important part of that champion because you need to be going between your stances as quickly as possible. But I do like that we are seeing Taxa on the Sejuani again as a champion. It is just so incredibly strong in the meta, and when you've got a melee top laner like the Jax, it gives you so much more CC potential to potentially make the Cassante a little bit more mortal than he's been, well, at least how we've been seeing him.
I will point out, he did go for the leashless route. He is giving his Ezreal Yuumi opportunities to trade bot, and that Ignite allows them to be very aggressive about those trades. The Ignite will also cost a cleanse from the Jinx, which opens up the potential for exhaust from the Yuumi. So it's actually pretty good combos that they have going there. They have not sacrificed a heal for it, and likely they've assessed that the Yuumi is going to be playing around the Jax mostly later, and they want the Jax to have the heal rather than the Ezreal have the heal the whole time. A lot of people have this idea that Yuumi is a very passive champion early, but honestly, if you play with her auto attacks early, you can be more aggressive than a lot of other enchanters in the game can be, because if you drop your HP down to 50 or 100, you just attach to your AD carry, you're still giving W adaptive stats, you're still getting your Q bombardments, and the enemy can't capitalize on getting you low. So you actually have a lot to play with in terms of early aggression with the Yuumi. So I'm fine with that, and them looking for those opportunities with this leashless spot to top clear. Look at how aggressive Nyla's going.
And I think that the Jax can sometimes be a little bit deceptive, right? He is this late game monster, but if you get your timings right, he can make some very effective early trades, even against someone like a Cassante. Nile securing the push here, obviously with Flawed on the bottom side of the map. No risk to the Jax as it stands, as just going to take a quick recoil, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, Remix and Baloo can go as aggressive as they want. Udyr is on that side, and Sejuani is definitely on top side. You can make that as a pretty safe assumption. So even if they take losing trades here, it's going to be better off for them because their jungler can capitalize and the enemy can't. This will allow them to get the wave in, then allow them to reset and be full HP from it. And so any losing trade suddenly becomes a full win for them because they have time on the map now. They weren't able to get on the other side Verdant any acceleration plays off on the Cassante, but they have gotten a lot of vision down. They have gotten the scuttle. Jax is going to know what he can do on this upcoming wave. He's going to know if he's able to trade or not. If Udyr shows there, then he wants to just kind of let the wave move in, maybe fill it out, but he's feeling this 1v1.
Or he could try and kill Spooder a couple more hits, and it's first blood to Nilla in top lane.
Yep, and he had that ward the whole time. He would know if Udyr was already doing Grump or not. Udyr was not even on the Grump yet. He knew that. He knew Udyr delayed bot side to do the wards and to do the scuttles, and he took advantage of that immediately.
This is what we were saying. You can't underestimate the Jax in the early stages, otherwise you kind of get your pants pulled down a little bit, and losing an early kill to a Jax is not a great thing. Already got that Sheen picked up, can come back to lane and really continue to beat up on Spooder.
Yeah, I mean, the 1v1 timing there from Nyla was really good. The team set up for it as well. This is the best result Verdant could have in the early game. Obviously, both these champions get very ridiculous later on. Something that the Jax will always have to fall back on, though, is his utility. Okay, Sante's going to fall back on the fact that he's basically unkillable. So right now, the question is, how good is this Udyr and Jinx going? Because these are the big carries on Nativz. Neither of them have really fallen behind yet. Both of them have kind of gotten what they wanted, but Verdant's also gotten what they wanted as well. So the game plans for both are unchanged, right? We're expecting to see attempts to get strong 5v5s from Nativz, and we're expecting to see Verdant try to split them around the map. And both teams are getting those conditions in. Neither team is breaking yet. Both are playing quite well. This is a good day this is a good game to open the day with.
Yeah, no one making any particularly silly mistakes as it stands. Spuda showing the necessary respect to Taxus, who's just cleared that ward and is going to be taking a recall. Nativz have picked up the first objective of the game. Very, very early hex check rate for themselves for a bit more ability, haste, and attack speed. And that means that potentially they'll be able to contest around any Rift Herald as well.
Hopefully. It will be interesting to see what happens on the early Herald rotations, because Yuumi is not exactly a Nautilus, which Cly was able to do a lot on the map on yesterday. It's a bit of a different beast. Most people don't buy boots on her. I do say most because I have been known to entertain the notion of a boots Yuumi in the past, and honestly, I do think it's quite good for rotation sometimes. But that's mostly if you're going to do a damage Yuumi. So it's going to be interesting. They're going to basically have to drag both Ezreal and Yuumi there. But if you do that in this situation, Jinx is just going to delete that tower. That's an immediate 4 or 5 plates and a full tower for Jinx. And you don't want that to be the case. So how this first Herald goes is interesting to me. They're sending the Ezreal bot. Except they can't send both. They're very slowly sending Yuumi mid. But the big thing is Baloo, he's just gone straight back to lane. He did not decide, okay, they're going to try to contest us there. I have to go contest as well. He's like, I have to protect my Jinx, crash this, and maybe we actually see both Jinx and Seraphine move through river to midsection and then move topside. That's what we most likely see here now. Yuumi is responding to the fact that Seraphine's shown bot and is now matching. But look at that wave control. Ezreal does not have the clear for this, right? That's normally why you want to pick Ezreal with winning lanes. And now let's see what Remix and Baloo do with this crash. I expect it to be a full shift to Herald. And it is.
Well, they are making their way over, as is Taxa, and this is very, very similar to the way that Verdant have played in their previous game, obviously with the lack of a support around this Herald. And that means that Taxa is being a little bit more patient than he potentially would otherwise, and is happy enough to Arctic Assault over the wall to get away from Flawed, who is starting up the Herald immediately. And Verdant, they're not really in position to contest.
Yeah, Jinx also deciding there if she wants to protect the tower bot or farm mid. I think she's made the correct choice. She's staying mid, but this could give an engage angle for the Sedge and the Azir, and it was close. That was in fact a flash burn. I think Remix got a bit impatient on the wave there, but it was a good decision to stay here because that meant that the whole time Nativz were 5-man topside, which makes this Herald very easy. And now they just need to decide where they want to drop the Herald. It's not exactly Karma you want to give all the gold to, it's the Udyr and the Jinx, so straight bot side is the next contest.
Taxa flashing onto Remix, that was, I'm going to say, over-aggressive veteran.
I think it's good though. You don't want the Jinx to get back onto the bot side here. What you'd like to do is get the Karma and the Jinx to re-rotate, to switch back Karma into the mid lane, Jinx to the bot lane, and then ram the Herald up towards bot lane. By denying that rotation, it delays the use of this Herald. Just delaying Nativz from doing what they want is going to be a win, while Verdant have their Jax ticking time bomb on top side, getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So I'm fine with this for now. It's definitely much harder for Jinx to play with no flash on mid. And now the rotation is happening, but this is an entire wave late. It's now somewhat bad for Udyr to be bot side, so Udyr's going to have to clear his top side camps. That's a whole wave loss that no one's really getting, except for the Udyr now, obviously, on mid lane. He doesn't do that. And now Udyr has to decide, am I going to get my economy on Jinx, or am I going to get my top side camps? It's delayed further. So the next set of rotations, Taxa will be bot side again, and then he can try to contest again. So it was a good play overall, right? Like, this very long sequence here has begun because he did that Jinx contest, and this means he's going to be able to try to match the Herald and try to deny the easy economy that Nativz thought was theirs.
They've not really had much economy, honestly, in comparison to Verdant, because we are seeing CS leads emerge in every lane, well, apart from the jungle, but I will forgive Taxa for not farming as quickly as Anu did, but that's a pretty good sign, honestly, when you've got lanes that scale as well as an Ezreal and an Azir and a Jax do.
I mean, you're definitely happy of your Verdant, and you're looking at your Jax being 40 CS ahead, hitting tower, getting another wave of advantage over the Kayasante. You're very, very happy. And even the Jinx is behind, partly because of that Taxir play, and also just because you've been able to deny them getting their win cons off. Obviously, the Karma being behind doesn't matter so much for Nativz. They're lucky that two of their champions are very, very low economy champions. But overall, you're very happy with this game as Verdant. Those carries have to be strong, or these 5v5s are going to be very, very difficult. You're already starting from a difficult place, right? Like, no one wants to go against this level of shields, this level of heals, and this level of move speed. So the fact you have these kinds of con leads is brilliant. Especially, that Jax has to be a magnet. Yeah. He has to be a magnet for this team. Because if they get that 5-man grouping off, it's over. But they can't ignore these carries.
Oh, because you look as Kevo shifting forward, forced to flash back as Taxa is here to counter gank, could deal a lot of damage to Fjord, hitting it with the ultimate. The exhaust down on the Udyr is just a little bit too quick. No one going down as of yet, and both teams will back away from each other still. Only one kill at the 12-minute mark, and whilst Nativz, they've fallen to an early goal deficit. They've got themselves a couple of Drakes, and if this composition is given time, and if Nile can't apply that pressure on the side lane, then they're still in a pretty decent spot.
Two big things there. One, this is a fantastic game from Taxa so far. We were talking earlier about how that Jinx play enables him to be matching bot side when Udyr is there and denying the Jinx Udyr the economy from the Herald. He was there at the exact timing that he had to be. And two, I think Kevo is so happy he got to play League of Legends. Now, Udyr has had to overextend bot. That's how he's going to get the Herald out, but all of his topside camps are exposed. He's behind on resets, he's behind on farm. You don't get experience from dropping this Herald, but he has no choice but to do it now. He's on a bad timing for this. Taxa's here again, but, you know, he's not going to be on time for this. I think definitely there was a big opening for them to just take topside jungle here and deny Udyr further and just kind of let this be. But really good plays from Taxa overall in this game. You can see the impact of it. It delayed very, very heavily. It almost disrupted them entirely. If the Udyr had just gone topside straight up, then he was never going to get the Herald off bot. So instead you just have the Udyr delayed on his farm. And that's good. You don't want this guy up on farm in the same way that the Azir and the Ezreal and the Jax are right now, because he's one of only 2 carries that Nativz have in the game. So any delay you get on him is good.
And of course, the composition is great at enabling them, right? So even if he's at parity, it's going to feel so much worse because he's got 800 health of shields at him at 20 minutes into the game or something absolutely ridiculous. But for Verdant at the moment, they're the ones who are applying a bit more pressure in this bot side with Taxa in the area. And that is a load of plates over to Kevo and Cly. As Nativ's bot lane has swapped into mid.
It's more than Nativz were able to get, right? Actually, like, looking at this, Verdant are simply ahead on the map, right? And this makes sense, right? You know Udyr's overextended bot to drop that Herald, right? Which means that Udyr now absolutely must go topside. He has no camp spot side, he's done everything he possibly can, and you have a 45-second window before he can even be on the map. So why not take every single play and the tower bot side? That gave them first tower. That gave their bot lane an advantage. What should have been a Herald play that puts Jinx ahead puts Jinx behind because of Taxa's match plays. Very good game from Taxa, very good responses overall, and I like it. And the response by Nativz is sending bot lane mid ASAP, and that's the classic response that you have to do when you know you're behind on the map. This is the only way to suddenly get Verdant trying to play your game, and Verdant here are saying, we're happy to do it, and we're happy to contest.
All 5 members of Nativz, 5 members of Verdant. Here comes Taxa with the Yumi on his back, nearly getting a massive stun as well, but that is a brilliant encore from Baloo. The shuffle hits onto nobody as Spooner is in the back line, and it's Nativz who are winning out on the fight. Their health bars are so damn low.
Ooh.
As Ero will take Baloo. How aggressive does Kevo feel? Remix on the other side of the wall. The Mystic shot connects, but the Ezreal will not go further forward. That was very, very messy, but Nativz come out with the win in the fight.
I'm hoping that was the hamster getting the shock from the cupcake right there, because they are ahead, but you're not so far ahead that you want to be 5v5ing this team, right? And I hope that that is the final shock, so Verdant understand this is not how they want to play. Look at the HP bars. If there aren't 2 enchanters on the side of Nativz, they do win that fight. But there are 2 enchanters, and there will be 2 enchanters the next time around. That fight was even. That fight will become winning for Nativz very fast if you keep doing that. Sure, it went somewhat well, and definitely better than you'd expect any 5v5 to go there, but I hope that's the last time they attempt this. Just try to split them. You can't fight them 5-on-5.
It needs to be done, but a 5v5 might be what the Doctor orders, as this Infernal Drake would be sole point for Nativz if they're able to take it. Flawed using the Empowered Phoenix stance there. Cooldown on that, not too significant, but going to be a little bit of time before he can use that. Going to be summoning the Herald in the mid lane for a bit of pressure as Verdant starting up the Drake.
Oh, this is going to be very difficult. They want to kind of turn with the Azir, with the Sedge, and look at Nyla flanking on the side here, but there are very few people that he can one-shot, and Spooder's saying, I'm not going to let you get anywhere near them, but he's found his way onto Unexpected.
He's dived in, but he has been rude. Doesn't matter, he still kills Floor, and the Yumi will keep him alive, as that's so much damage onto Kevo. An overstep on the Ezreal. Now it's Nativz who have been able to move into the Drake. Taxa on the other side of the wall. Flashes over and gets the steal! Death and Taxa certainties in life. Nativz will get the fight. 4 kills, but no dragon in their pocket.
I mean, Taxa definitely flashing. There was some certainty, but the deaths are what they're going to remember. This could be the fight that sends Nativz composition into overdrive. You basically have to contest all these Drakes if you think you're going to contest this one. Hopefully, they decide the 3rd Drake, maybe that's one that we can just let them have. It would be soul point, but that's better than forcing yourselves in this position over and over again. Be happy with the one Infernal that you have. Again, we're kind of seeing this is not a team that they want a team fight, and Baron's going to be up in 3 minutes. We need to get these side lanes broken through. If those side lanes are broken through and Jax can play on a long lane, then you have options with which to play out this game. But playing Jax to flank, that's not going to really work, alright? They are getting somewhat punished for not having heavy bot priority. That's something that Nate is able to read like a book in the early game by getting these early 2 Drakes to try to pressure these fights. But you don't have to take it now. You should have to force them to set up
Taxa has
that.
been caught by the Encore, rooted, pulled back. There's so much CC. And the Verdant jungler dies. No Baron yet, but Nativz, they have really come alive in this game. And that gold advantage for Verdant is basically even now.
Yeah, I mean, those kinds of move speeds allow you to pivot very, very easily when you see that someone's being caught out, and they can go straight from that into the Jax. This is something we were worried about with the presence of the Karma, but oh my lord, the damage from Nilla there.
Yep, Jax is still Jax. Flawed, you are not going to win that 1v1. Okay, the Verdant win condition is still alive, but they need to start playing towards it some more. Nille can't do it all on his own.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying. He doesn't actually have Conquer in this setup, so that's not even Jax at full power. He doesn't have Conqueror in this setup. If he did, I think he just actually 1v2s them right there. Grass is definitely better for the lane though. But yeah, like even the 4-man gank with double enchanters, with Karma zooming, with all these guys coming at him, wasn't enough to take down Nyla. You're gonna have to play a lot better than that, even with that kind of a numbers advantage, even with Taxa removed from the map. So you're seeing Verdant's win cons are still alive, they're still kicking, there's still something to be feared. Let's hope Verdant realize that, right? And we don't just see Nala dragged off to these 5v5s over and over again. This is the situation I want. I want to see Azir threatening this tower on bot lane. I want to see Jax threatening it. And with Baron spawned, if you're forcing Udyr, Jinx, Karma, Seraphine, any of these guys bot lane to back up the K'Sante, they can't be doing anything around Baron.
That is a load of damage onto Balloon, a fair chunk onto Flawed as well, pulling that TP actually from unexpected. So that's one of those burnt, and that's going to give Nilla a bit of free time to beat up on Spooder if he wants to in the bot lane. Flawed still potentially looking at Kevo, who's arcane shifting away, and now Nativz cheating towards topside river.
One teleport down, Karma can no longer go bot side. Second teleport is also down. Why? Because Jax is already matching it. This means that if you want to group against Jax, you're going to have to do it on full manual, right? And this team composition is definitely not made to do things on manual, it's made to do things on easy mode. There are no stick drivers here. Jax goes bot lane, you can maybe have K'Sante group with you now, but Jax will burn that TP on his own just by his sheer presence. So if you want to bait Baron, you have to be very aggressive about it as Nativz, and pray that Verdant blink.
I haven't so far. 20 minutes on the clock, and we are basically dead even. 2 Drakes in the lead for Nativz, an Infernal for Verdant, but there is very, very little between these two teams in the abstract. If we look a bit more specifically, Nile is 2,500 gold ahead of his lane opponent, but we see some advantages being revealed for Nativz that could potentially compensate for that in the long run.
That's 5 times the actual gold lead Verdant have. It's on Jax right there. But this is what they want. This is what we wanted, alright? You see Nil on this roster, you know there's one way this team's gonna play, right? And there he is again. Nativz have full midsection control, and Jax is like, this is a brilliant time to push out bot lane. And all of Nativz lean bot side because they know the threat. This gives Verdant Baron control. This is proper split push play. This is exactly how they have to do it. Under this fancy 5-on-5, if Verdant bait Baron, then Jax can potentially just get bot inhibitor. All you have to do is make sure Nativz don't get the Baron. That's what you have to do, and Jax can do what he wants.
I might be looking for engage. Actually, Nilla is TPing in. Spooder able to get the cancel there with the all-out, but I'm not sure that's a fight that you want to take, as in the mid lane, 4v4, no one dying. In the bot lane, Spooder dying to Nilla. Yeah, don't cancel that teleport, mate.
Spooder needs to go back and read his Art of War. Do not interrupt your opponent while they are making a mistake. And yet when Jax decides now's the perfect time to go for a team fight, Spooder's like, no mate, fight me instead. And Jax is like, you know what? Fantastic idea. And goes for it. Spooder's down. Kevo's poke around this. Oh, the movement!
Oh, what is he doing? Flashing away from the Encore. I think that was a little bit silly, Veteran. And now with no AD carry, Verdant, they have been able to pick up the Drake. Flawed is thinking about fighting them, but thinks better of it.
I mean, Kevo was able to delay them around the Baron. I mean, he was able to delay them around the Baron for quite long. He forced them to extend well away from the Baron to kill him. That gives a Drake. But now Nativz, they're like, let's just one-shot this thing as fast as humanly possible. I wonder if they know about the K'Sante TP timing, because that could be really good for them. But Taxa, he's stolen one of these objectives. Can he steal another? Errol is here as well. Nilla is here. And these guys are tanking so much Baron damage.
2,000 HP, in goes Taxa, he nails it! No way! How does he do it every time?
He did it again! Oh no! The best case scenario has happened for Verdant. If Nativz get that Baron, they can contest on multiple fronts of their composition. But now Verdant have it. How are you going to deal with this Jax? Is it even doable? The only thing that can even touch him is Jinx, and Jax is going to close that gap really easily. Taxa, with that, I would put that down to luck if it wasn't done so consistently that is statistically impossible. Taxa has brought them back into the game with that Baron in style. Potentially devastating situation for Verdant becomes the worst case scenario for Nativz.
I feel like we're going to get loads of fun moments of Taxa around objectives over the course of this split, because he's already had a Baron stolen against him, and he's already had a Baron steal, and we've not even finished 2 games yet. So I'm really excited to see how that happens. But you're right, that is a massive lifeline for Verdant, because honestly, this game was kind of slipping away from them a little bit, and now finally they're going to be able to get that push. They are finally able to get that top lane tower nearly 25 minutes into the game, and hopefully for Nil's sake, this is going to free up his ability to split push a little more.
I can definitely already see in my head the video feature deafen Taxes, and it's just Taxer stealing all of these objectives. He's 0-3-2, but those 2 objective steals were huge, alright? 2 Infernals on this Jax, Baron on this Jax. Look, they cannot play the game. They are split. They're 4 on 1 and 1 on the other. Do you really want to leave one solo for the Jax? Potentially, you could see Verdant try to go for a 5v4.
Ooh.
Taxer with the engage!
Oh, unexpected. Was about 25 units away from getting hit by a Mystic Shot that would have killed him there, but I love the problem solving that we've seen from Verdant. They tried to 5v5 Nativz a little bit earlier and realized they couldn't do it, and now they're like, no, 4v4 is the maximum that we're going to go for, and we're going to let Nile do his thing.
Yep, and they're only committing to them, I should say, if it is free. And I like that. What you didn't see on your screen there was Nilla lean a little bit in, fake the potential 5v5, but the moment Verdant see that this isn't a 100% guaranteed fight that we're going to take, Nilla went straight back top, immediately took the tier 2 tower. This K'Sante can't do anything. I've never seen a K'Sante look this vulnerable the entire season, to be honest, but Nilla has made it look that way. Not just him, but the team as a whole trusting him to be this powerhouse in the side lane. We had questions about Spooder, because Spooder looked very good against WoW, alright? Yes, he lost that game, but he was getting a pretty good lead. We know this guy can do split pushes. What can this guy do? Well, Nilla has outclassed him this game, 100%. He's almost hit the flame horizon on him, which isn't a term I've had to use for a while. And because of this pressure, look, Errol, on his comfortable Azir, you pointed out this as a comfort champ, is almost going to do the same thing. He's 2 to 3 waves away from doing the same thing, too unexpected. This is a very good state of affairs for Verdant. Maybe just being really good at this one thing trumps trying to be this all things to all teams.
Keeping it chill, getting a top laner obscenely fed, and then just winning with a 30-minute split push. I mean, you were saying, right, you don't necessarily need to be master of everything to be one of the better teams in the league, and Verdant, I think, with some promising elements to their performance, which would maybe be indicating that they could be one of those teams. Nativz, though, still not giving up, still looking for these engages, still looking for Kevo, who's going to be forced to flash over the wall. Glacial Prison thrown out. More of a disengage than anything from Taxer, and for all the good things that Verdant have done, they still can't get these 5v5s to work.
No, they can't, but I do think they were just trying to delay. If they really wanted to commit to a 5v5 there, the Yuumi would have used the ultimate. Errol would have used his ultimate. But instead, they're just trying to delay Nativz until they can find a good window. I'm not sure about grouping the Jax here, though, right? Like, Jax went a bit early, and now Nativz have position over the Infernal.
Final chapter. Onker only goes on to a couple, and Nilo has been rooted there. He's being fired onto by Remix. It's a shutdown for Spooder. It's 3 kills for Nativz, and Verdant crumble around the Drake.
Discipline play until that one moment, and then you have the Jax grouping, you forget where all of your strengths are, and you get punished for it with the 5-on-5. You are 2 Drakes ahead. Maybe they get soul point on this, but make them suffer for that. Top lane was completely open the whole time. Why not just set up opposite side of the Drake and try to get your Jax from that shift into mid back in towards top side, instead of shifting him from that mid into a full Drake contest? Imagine Jax threatening inhibitor top, maybe even taking inhibitor top while these guys are doing the Infernal. That's the kind of play I want to see from Verdant. That's the play I was seeing for the last 10 minutes, and that's the play that was working. They got to get back to that now, but you know, giving that bounty over, giving that Drake over for absolutely nothing, that's definitely going to hurt them. And you fall to this Jinx once more in a slightly different scenario. She's going to delete every single one of those towers on the way to your Nexus. This is not a mistake that Verdant can make a 3rd time.
It feels like we haven't really said Remix's name at all this game, right? But he is now. Infinity Edge completed on the Jinx, and with those double enchanters around him that we have been talking about, it's going to be so very difficult for Verdant to actually reach him. So the emphasis is even more on making the map play work, but Verdant, with that soul point in their back pocket, with this movement towards the Baron, I think they recognize that they can bait Verdant into a 5v5 and they are going to be favored.
I mean, definitely part of the reason not to talk about Remix is that Verdant just made sure they played away from him as long as humanly possible. If Verdant want to make the game about Nilla, then we're going to end up having to talk about Spuda. But the one time they let Remix show his chops in team fights, he does it so well. And this is potentially another scenario. If Nativz are able to find the turn, they can do a lot here. Ezreal's normally so good at these contests, but that's not if you shield it.
He's been caught with the Encore! He's been pulled back in and killed! It's a race against time now. Nativz, they're going to be able to get the Baron! Not going to be stolen away by any loose damage, but Nile is in the base. He's been able to take down an inhibitor, but he will get no more. So, for the next 3 minutes, Nativz are wearing purple, but Verdant are going to have super minions in the bottom lane for around about 5 minutes.
The super minions for Baron, that's not an even trade. If you trade a Baron for an inhibitor, you now ram yourself up that inhibitor lane with something more powerful than a super minion wave, a Baron wave. Very tanky here, and they're just going to equalize that very easily. So, I mean, yes, tax is a certainty, but so too was death, and the death has finally occurred. He wasn't able to turn around that particular Baron, and now I think this game is squarely in Nativ's hands. But I've fought this at many points over the course of this game that one team has it, and I've been shown otherwise. Nyla making a very aggressive play towards the midsection here, but Jinx, I mean, she has a super minion wave on bot lane. I don't see how you don't have to go respond to her.
Well, I think you do need to respond to her, but unfortunately for Nilla, Kevo, and Clive, Flawed is very intent on preventing them from responding. They're going to try and kill him for doing that, and they will be successful as the inhib falls in the bot lane. And with the movement on the map, it looks like a potential collapse is coming through Veteran.
Ooh, Kaysante's moving in first with his teleport. They catch Taxa
And
again.
Taxa has been caught, forced to go away. Kevo actually going over the wall as Nilla is in the middle of absolutely everyone. The Counter-Strike not going to connect as he's going to be knocked away by the K'Sante. Kevo forced to flashback over that wall. And Nativz are making their way out for the time being. How aggressive does Verdant want to get?
No mana on the
Taxa
Jinx
still
here.
thinking about
Very
it.
low
Stiller
hit
still
as well.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
Just waiting for
They
Leap
can do
Strike.
it!
Counter Strike range gets the stun onto Unexpected, but he gets out of there just in time. Spuda now attempting to join the fray, but there's too much shielding and healing on this Native squad. Verdant can't get any more kills.
You don't really have an option like you do when it comes to anti-heal, when it comes to anti-shielding, and they're really suffering that now. The Yuumi is being countered by the itemization on these enchanters. They're not able to find a response to all these shields. This is the big thing right now. When Natives try to force these 5v5s, Verdant are hoping the poke from the Ezreal, from the Yuumi, some from the Azir is going to be enough, but it's just not. You can't break through these low cooldown shields, and in those catches, the constant speed boost and the constant shielding is preventing it the last bit of burst they need. But their Yuumi is not able to heal everyone. She's not AoE like the two champions on the other side, and she is counter by itemization. This 5v5 could be it for the game, unless Verdant are able to pull something incredibly special.
I mean, this is an Infernal Drake, right? And Nile isn't here. They are relying on Taxa to make a miracle once again into the pit. How does he keep doing it? That is absolutely ridiculous, Taxa! Denies the Infernal Soul, and he rolled TP'd into the base. Him and Nilla are going for the entire damn game. Remix is doing as much damage as he can in the river, but it is not going to be enough. The solo laners of Verdant hitting onto the Nexus towers. Unexpected. Blue doing their damnedest. Spuda is here as well. A couple more hits will do it. Pulled away from the Nexus. The Zergus, the Leap Strike, the game for Verdant.